Hey there, YouTube land. And if you watched my unboxing video earlier on, thanks to a good friend of mine, Dina DVD, I was able to pick up From a Whisper to a Scream. And you can actually see, but not here, of course, because of the copyright issues, the menu in the background there for the film. And I wanted to break this up. This is actually a favorite film of mine. I'm a really big fan of director Jeff Burr's. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 is, to this day, my favorite of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequels. I get a real kick out of Stepfather 2. I like a lot of the stuff that he does. I really do. And I found that when he was on Pumpkinhead 2, he's a really good talker, and he really does well with the in the genre. I would really like to see him get a break and do something amazing, because he deserves it. This here was his first feature film, and it's a hard one to top. From Whisper to a Scream, I'm going to review another time. I actually am breaking up this review into several other reviews, because this movie here didn't just have the movie on Blu-ray, and they could have done that. They could have put it out. They could have put it bare bones like they did with a couple other Blu-ray releases. They could have put it out with a commentary. Or they could have had like a couple talking heads, like about a 50-minute thing or another 10-minute thing here or there, and just left it at that. And because nobody had From Whisper to a Scream on since the I think it was the MGM release of it. God, it was bare bones and had a horrible cover, by the way. We would have been satisfied. Honestly, this could have been put on as a double feature or something else, and we would have been satisfied. But Scream Factory didn't do that. No, Scream Factory went all out on this film. Although they did not put a slip cover on this and call it a collector's edition, this is better than a lot of the collector's editions that Scream Factory has put out. When I'm talking about movies that you must own from Scream Factory, if you have any Scream Factory in your collection and you're wondering what's a must, well, I'm going to do a video about that, actually. But this movie right here has gone to pretty much to the top of the list of musts for me. And let me tell you why. This one here not only has the film in an amazing, well, let's just say the quality of the film is incredible. Not only that, but it has two commentaries. But we're not here to talk about any of that stuff. We're here to talk about the Return to Oldfield. And what that is a feature-length, a full-length feature, full feature-length documentary on the making of From Whisper to a Scream. And when I say it's a feature-length documentary, I mean it really is a feature-length documentary. It is a long, long documentary. And what it does is it follows it from its actual genesis, before the movie was even thought about as From Whisper to a Scream. It follows the early life of basically Jeff Burr getting into meeting people at college and doing all this stuff, to the point where this film comes about. Basically, they were going to make another film, a completely different film, and he gets this idea for kind of this gothic thriller, kind of this southern type of anthology thing, kind of a throwback to the Amicus and to a lot of the earlier stuff. They mention Tales from the Crypt. They talk about the Vault Horror, Asylum, stuff like that. All those movies that were made back in the day, and they wanted to do kind of a tribute to that. And it was a smart idea, because they thought, okay, not only can we do it that way, but one of the other things that we need to know is that I keep looking at it, seeing what's in the background there, because is that if they do it like this, they can shoot complete segments of the film, completed segments. And in low budget filmmaking, on your first film, a lot of times a lot of things happen, and you can lose funding. Some funding can be cut. You could be cut down, and you could end up closing shop before the film is made. However, if you're doing an anthology film, one of the really cool things is, well, if you've got 2 or 3 segments done of it, they're in the can. They're done. You can shop them out. You can see if you can actually make a cable deal or a TV deal. You can actually try and put it together laterwards and make a film out of it that way. So we're covering all their bases. And Return to Oldfield basically talks about that whole genesis, every production. It goes through each and every one of the segments of the film. Talks about those and lets you know that it is so incredibly in depth. It goes into the casting of the film, the story of how Vincent Price became involved in this film, and it doesn't just like give it away right away. There's an incredible story into how Vincent Price became the narrator, kind of like the wraparound guy for this film here, and it is unbelievable and hilarious and fantastic. There are so many great stories in Return to Oldfield. It's just such an incredible documentary. If you like documentaries, if you're a fan, say you're not totally sure on horror films, or say you think that there's a little bit of gore in this and you're kind of wondering, well, I'm not sure. I know it's got Vincent Price, but maybe, no. The documentary on this thing here will definitely sell you on this film. If you like documentaries at all, it is amazing. I've not seen many documentaries in a long time that actually really goes into this in depth with the film. And I've seen like the Crystal Lake documentary and Nightmare on Elm Street, and they all go into like in depth with the stories. But this one here really does. I mean, this is a smaller film. This is not like a franchise film. It's a little film, a first film of a director, and we're getting amazing complete. I still to this day, this very second, I still find it hard to believe that I turned this on, and my better half, she said, "Well, let's watch the feature because we're not can't watch the film right now. You know, this is one I can watch with Kelly or with Matthew." From Castmax, maybe Cast would go with this one, but here's the thing. I'm blown away. I am blown away by Scream Factory's presentation of this film. I'm blown away by Scream Factory's presentation of this documentary. It may be one of the best that I've seen in years, and it really pumped me up for the movie. I had always remembered True Gallagher in this film, and just such an incredible portrayal that he did. And it was really interesting to see because he acted with his real life wife, who actually was also an actress. She was in like she's a comedic actress mostly. I think they mentioned that she was in Barney Miller and a lot of shows like that. So if you don't know what Barney Miller is, it was a comedy set it was comedy in the 70s, and it was set in a police precinct where basically it dealt with the not going out and like arresting, but actually all the strange and weird and quirky characters that will come into the precinct. It was a very smart, very literate show. Back when comedies didn't have to be. Back when comedies were very smart. Maybe I'm a little biased on that, but I think that that the level of comedy that we get now is a little bit fed to us as opposed to some of the stuff that we had earlier. But then again, I grew up in that age, so that's my era of that. And I thought Barney Miller is one of those really literate, really smart comedies. If you've never seen it, just take it an episode or two and kind of let yourself just get into it and see exactly what it's about. Because it's a very different, unique style of a comedic series. Anyway, back to this here awesome documentary. Return to Oldfield leaves no stone unturned. It talks about the actors, it talks about the cast, the crew, and everybody that's kind of important to the film gets a word in there. They talk about the casting of everybody, and this is not like these were people that were like extreme, huge. They had passion for filmmaking, and they just got together, and they were the right people at the right place at the right time to make this film. And the stories, the tales that you hear and you find out are amazing. The actors that we were able to get in this, Cameron Mitchell is in this film. Rosamund Cash is in this film. Susan Tyrrell. We've got Terry Kaiser. Pre-Weekend at Bernie's Terry Kaiser. Way before he was the really evil guy in the Friday the 13th Part 7. And C. Courtney Joyner wrote this film. I think it was Michael Malone that did a lot of the kind of the set work, and he's worked with Lynch and many others. But you owe it to yourself. Treat yourself to get to picking up from a whisper to a scream. Otherwise, when I saw it originally, that's the original title. When I mentioned on the other video, I said Offspring is the title that I saw it under because that's the title that the studio put it out under, at least here in North America. If you're over in the UK, you probably did see it under this title right here, which is a better title. But I have a love for the title Offspring because that's what I saw it under. And it was one of those things where I knew nothing about it. I stumbled upon it. And I think it was 1988. I was 16 or 17, 16 at the time, I think. And it was just one of those films that I found in a... And it just it blew me away. As a guy that's been a fan, a long-time fan of anthology films. And anthology films are one of the things that got me into writing. Because I was kind of a very lazy writer. Most of my stories that I worked at when I was young, when I was in high school and stuff like that were done for me. They didn't go over 80, 90 pages maximum. But then I would get kind of bored. But I found that kind of the 25 to 35, sometimes 40 pages would be like the sweet spot. And so that's why I found anthologies really worked when I was writing stuff as well. I found that I could write a short 25, 30 page story, no problem. And I could put 2 or 3 of them together. And I actually remember when I was younger, I wrote this book it was my Bible, it was my anthology Bible. And there's like 5 or 6, there's 7 stories on it altogether. And it had about a couple hundred pages. And I'm like, look at this, if I ever did something, this would be it. And it had a werewolf story. And I think the werewolf story was the first one I wrote because I was a huge fan of werewolves. And there'd been a vampire story, and there'd been like some psychological horror type of thing with twists, because I love that type of stuff. And I've always been a huge fan of anthology films. That's actually Clue Gallagher, with the white, hair in the background there. That's the dad from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. Just in case you kind of wonder where you saw him from. Cameron Mitchell's on screen there right now. Another fantastic actor, a driller killer. Cameron Mitchell's one of those guys that was an amazing actor, and he just hit on some hard times. But he just did such incredible stuff. I know I'm rambling on, but it's because I am so blown away by how well this was done. When I heard that From a Whisper to a Scream was coming out, this was a moment of like utter joy and just excitement for me, from like my inner horror fan of as a child. Automatically just squealed. And then to find out that there's actually going to be features on it, that there's going to be a commentary, and there's going to be more than a commentary, and then there's going to be a documentary on it, and the documentary is going to be feature length, and there's going to be a second documentary on it. And thank you, Scream Factory, for putting the work that you did into a film that I think really, really deserves it. And I really hope that this is one of their higher selling releases, because this is what I want to see people buying from Scream Factory and getting out there. Because what this means is that films like Jeff Burr's From Whisper to a Scream, anthology films like this with Vincent Price and Susan Tyrrell, and just so many fantastic actors and great, great, great special features, the more of these will get made. Scream Factory looks at every single film that gets sold and how well they sell. And they use that to pretty much decide on films that they're going to be getting in the future. And Shout Factory, of course, is the parent company. So they'll look at it and they'll say, okay, this is doing well. This isn't doing so well. I know that Scanners 2 and 3 didn't do well for Scream Factory. So Scanners Cop and Scanners Cop 2 probably never coming. So I implore, if you are a fan of horror, if you are a fan of documentaries, if you own any Scream Factory at all, and you're looking to get some more in your collection, you will not go wrong by picking up this movie here, From a Whisper to a Scream. Not only is it a fantastic little anthology film, the documentaries on it are amazing. You'll learn more about Vincent Price. You're going to learn more about everybody that worked on this film. And you're going to see like a passionate project. And if you watch my channel and you see how excited and how passionate I get about certain films, you're going to see that in the documentary Return to Oldfield. You're going to see people that work with film, people like Jeff Burr, that really do have that passion to make films and to strive to be better. And it doesn't matter that Burr has made a lot of films that have kind of been lower budget, and that he's still been able to keep that passion inside of him alive. And you can see it in this documentary. You can see it as he talks about the stories. You can see it around everybody that talks about him, and just how it. And he admits when he was an ass on the film. He talks about it. He talks about what happened with the crew. There are so many great stories in Return to Oldfield. This is an amazing documentary. I can't say enough good about it. So let your next Scream Factory release. Wait on the collector's editions that are always going to be there, that everybody's going to buy. You know, everybody's going to buy Mad Max. Everybody's going to buy Escape from New York. Everybody's going to be picking up whatever's coming out next, whatever the next big one is. And take a chance on a little title like this. Get some Vincent Price in your life. Get some amazing documentary in your life. Get a really fun little film in your life. It's got a Southern Gothic horror type of feel to it. It's a more of a classy type of feel. And the fact that this was made on such a low budget, and yet you can look in the background and you can kind of get a feel, I think at least a little bit of a feel of just how well this film is the set design is incredible for such a low budget film. And it goes into that. It tells you why, and it tells you how, and the places where they think they did things really right, and the places where things were done really wrong, and how they got to leave a lot of things kind of old school, leave a lot of the stuff. It's got the gore quote that it needs, but we're still able to leave a lot of stuff off the screen and be a much classier, much more ballsy film. Yeah. And I haven't even got to reviewing the film yet, but the documentary Return to Oldfield that's on this movie, you owe it to yourself. It's to buy it, to own it, to watch it. It's worth it. From a Whisper to a Scream usually runs around 20 for on Scream Factory, and as you know, it's a pretty good price for a Scream Factory release. It is filled with features. I just finished Return to Oldfield, and when they say it's a comprehensive feature documentary about the making of film, there is no hyperbole in this at all. It is a very comprehensive documentary, and if you've never seen From Whisper to a Scream, if you have never even heard of who the hell Jeff Burr is, or see Courtney Joyner or any of that, you will still have an amazing experience and a great time with an incredible film. I'm taking the old thing out of the mothballs again to use this one more time and actually say that right off here, just on the documentary alone, even without putting the film into the equation and the other documentary, which I still have to see, and all the other features and commentaries, this really is Professor Pin's pick. This is the highest rating that I can give any Blu-ray. And it belongs there. The same as you see my Halloween set and my Universal set. It belongs there with them. It really is that good. Check it, Return to Oldfield. Check it, From Whisper to a Scream. It's a great release. For me right now, guys, so past 3 in the morning, but I'm not tired. I'm actually pretty hyped from watching this here. So it's time for tea. Just sit back and relax for a little bit. Say hello to the great Pin Lord in the sky. His buddy the Phantom. Again, the DVD. Thank you. This has been an amazing, enlightening experience. And it has... If I has had excitement and passion for film before, this strongly kept and increased that passion within me from just watching this documentary. It was incredible. Incredible. Have a great night, guys. For me right now, it's time for tea. And if you don't have it, it's time for you to go out or go online and pick yourself up From a Whisper to a Scream. Let Scream Factory know we appreciate the fact that they have put something together like this. Something so amazing, something so incredible, with a documentary that you'll be watching and rewatching and talking about for a long time to come. If you're at all interested in filmmaking, Joe Says Horrors, you're interested in making films, you want to make films, that's what you want to do in the future. And I can actually see you doing that. You're going to be one of those guys where basically it's going to be me saying, I knew that guy when. Get this. Watch the Return to Oldfield documentary. It is a fantastically comprehensive documentary on filmmaking. The pitfalls, the highs, the lows, from casting, from set direction, everything. It's not a boring second. Have a great night, guys. And if you do see Oldfield when you're driving down the road on a late, dark night, you don't want to turn in. You probably just want to keep going, because strange things happen in Oldfield. Very strange things.